and answer some of your interesting questions.
Hey Birmingham, thanks for coming to this exclusive Q&A with me to celebrate Hellboy Day this weekend at MCM Comic Con. Be sure to see the new film in cinemas on the 12th of April and come and see me in person at the next MCM Comic Con in London on the 24th to the 26th of May. Before we have a look at a Hellboy trailer, some of you have sent in some very important questions, so let's have a look at them. Delicious. All right, let's see what we got here. Mike Mignola's art style is unique and distinct. Has that played a role in the visual approach to the film at all? Yes, absolutely. That was one of the things I was really excited about in terms of this particular iteration of Hellboy, that we were going to go back to the source material, not only in terms of story and in terms of mythos, but also in terms of the art style to a certain degree. One of the great things about his comics is that Hellboy is often the only red thing on the page, except sometimes when the Blood Queen shows up in some of his comics, the Blood Queen will be, her veil or something will be the only red thing, and the rest will be lots of darks and blues and grays, or like Excalibur will show up and it'll be the only yellow thing. It'll be this bright primary yellow and like the bright primary red of Hellboy, and the rest are sort of these darker tones, and I really like that aesthetic, and that definitely played a big part in our aesthetic, and you'll see a lot of that in the film. Let's see what we got. If you could play any Shakespearean character at the Globe, what would it be? Oh my God, that's an amazing question for a British audience. Okay, I really am desperate to play Coriolanus, Caius Marcius, the fascist kind of great general of Rome who gets kicked out and whose mother loves to see him covered in blood. That is a great play that rarely gets done. It's kind of a hard play, but politically I think it's very germane to what's going on today, and I love the character. It's such an interesting character, so I would love to do that play at the Globe. My Lord, that would be a dream. What Dungeons and Dragons class do you think Hellboy would play? What Dungeons and Dragons? Well, I mean, he certainly wouldn't be like a magic user or like a cleric. Those are like religious. I mean, he'd have to be like a fighter, right? He'd have to be like a guy with a. I guess could be some kind of like dark paladin class, right? Like, I like the fact that he doesn't have. His weapon is like a gun, but his main weapon is just a big old right hand, which feels to me like a mace, like a morning star, just this big like bashing thing. So that way maybe he's like some kind of dark cleric or some kind of dark paladin. How's that? I haven't played Dungeons and Dragons in a while. Would you rather have Steve Harrington's Babysitters Club or the BPRD as backup? Look, it depended on the situation, I think. It depended on how dire the situation. Clearly, in the most dire circumstances, you want Steve Harrington's Babysitters Club because the adorable factor would just melt the hearts of any monster. But in general, I think the BPRD would be more effective in most other situations. Tell us about your last Dungeons and Dragons character. Wow, lots of D&D questions. I mean, okay. I did get together with my friends several years ago and tried to play, we played Pathfinder for a little bit, but the rules are very complicated. And I was the dungeon master, and I'm terrible at that because it's so much work to be the dungeon master, and all my friends wanted to do was not do the quest that I had designed for them. They were just like, let's go to the bar and get drunk and harass some people. And I spent all this time preparing this thing that they wouldn't do. So my friends were horrible to play with. But when I was in 5th grade was the last time I was a player character in Dungeons & Dragons, and I played a cleric type character because I love the cleric with the mace and the book and like healing spells. Very weak to start and then gets very powerful later in the game. And that's my favorite. Are you going to celebrate Hellboy Day? I am going to celebrate Hellboy Day. I'm going to text Mike Mignola and tell him how beautiful I think his stories are and how honored I was to share in this experience with him. And I've made sort of a video I think that I'm gonna release. And I'm just gonna be like another fan. Maybe I'll read a couple more of the comics again. What else we got? How does this role change your attitude about fitness? How would you like to have an impact? How would you want that to have an impact on your fans? All right, here's the thing. Ready? I'm gonna tell you guys a secret, but you can't tell anyone. Seriously, this is just between us. It's not my real body. That's not my real body. That is a full prosthetic. But I know I did do some working out before we shot the movie, just to get strong and to feel this testosterone thing. But honestly, what I would love to share with fans is this, and this is important to me. There is so much kind of fetish in our society about actors changing their bodies for roles, and I think, for me personally, it makes me feel bad about myself when I can't do it as effectively as maybe other people who are given all the time and all the money and all the freedom to do it. And I think that we should love our bodies much more and stop romanticizing these fake ideals of, you know, that maybe 0.01% of the population can have. And we should just love and embrace our bodies. And I myself generally have a body that's not particularly athletic. It's a bit, you know, I got love handles, I got all kinds of stuff. And I think learning to love those things about yourself and accept those things about yourself instead of wishing and fetishizing someone else's body transformation is sort of the best way to approach life. So, you know, if you feel weird about your body, or you feel like, you know, fitness is obviously a good thing, health is obviously a good thing, but in terms of the aesthetics, I think we're too focused on that. And I think that it's what's inside of you that's beautiful, and always that should be the focus of sort of any part of your day. So I have a very strong reaction to that. These are so many questions. Oh my God, what do I got? How long did it take you to get in full makeup and costume? What did you do to entertain yourself? It took about 3 hours in the morning. So I would get, like, let's say we had a 6:30 call to start our day. I would get to the makeup chair at about 3 a.m. I'd wake up around 2:15 or something, jump in the car, drive to the studio, get in the car at 3 a.m. and then we'd shoot at 6 and shoot for about a 14-hour day. And then I'd get back in, go to sleep, try to go to sleep around, you know, 9:30 or something, get back up and kind of do it all over again. I'd have about a 6 or sometimes 7 or 8 hour turnaround. But it was a lot. And the way I would entertain myself was I would go to sleep. Because basically you could get in that chair and they'd start to put the mask on, and I could just put my headphones in and lie back, and they would do all this work. All these 4 people were doing all this work, and I would just sort of try to doze off. And, you know, there's lots of recordings that my makeup artist has of me just like snoring while he applies makeup, so hopefully those will never hit the internet, but they're pretty embarrassing. But that's what I did to entertain myself. I would sleep.
Well, there
and I also think that the people at these Comic Cons, the fans that I meet, are, for the most part, like genuinely lovely people and warm and are so devoted to this and so excited to be there. And I love to give back in any way, to sort of be able to say that I appreciate the support so much, and I appreciate the acknowledgement so much. And this is part of the reason, a big part of the reason why we do what we do is to move and affect people. And so it's beautiful to see that.
Well, there we are. Give a round of applause there to David Harbour.